everyone, it's Fjordström. Ever since I started my YouTube channel, I've been using these cameras. The Sony NEX-5, which actually has been my best camera. The NEX-5 with 40 megapixels came out in 2010, but I've been using it for many years now. And the moment lens, which I use with my iPhone, the iPhone here that I'm using right now for shooting this video. I've been using my iPhone for the latest videos, the past like 2 years now, and it really gives very nice images. And with this moment lens, I have a wide angle. But it's time now to upgrade my my camera gear. I originally wanted to go now for Canon or for a Nikon camera, but really for video and for travel, I really wanted something that was still compact, yet still has very great specs. And I ended up buying the Sony A6000. So this is the Sony A6000, released originally in 2014, but is still seen as one of the best cameras out there, and especially at this price. And if you look at the details, we can see there's a 24.3 megapixel sensor, an Exmor APS-C HD CMOS sensor with a Bion ZX image processor, which has also the fastest autofocus in the world at 0.06 seconds, thanks to improved fast hybrid AF or autofocus. It also has continuous shooting function at 11 frames per second, which means it can take 11 pictures per second if you want to have like a burst mode, if you use the burst mode. It has 179 autofocus points, which is really much. It has Wi-Fi NFC, it's compatible with the Play Memory camera apps, and it has screen, but also an OLED true finder, viewfinder in other words, an electronic viewfinder in the camera built in. But now it's time to unbox it. Now, as you can see, I've already opened this box when I received it just to check if everything was in it. So yeah, everything's intact. But for the rest, I didn't really put it on yet, so we'll have to check it out. This is what you get. This is a camera bag. If you're interested, it's the LCS U11, and if you have a look at it, then you'll see that it looks like this. It has two compartments, one for the camera, maybe for an extra lens, which I actually do have now from my NEX-5, and then here there's still some place for like a memory card, for example. There's a slot here for memory card, maybe some extra batteries, and here the cables they could put in as well. Okay, now let's get to the camera. Next is the camera itself. Oh, by the way, the memory card is just stuck to the box, so don't forget that it's over here, because I almost went back to the shop and complained that I couldn't find it, so it's just stuck to the box. Now let's get to the camera itself. It's packaged like this. It's like a paper bag, and this is how it looks like. Now if you're also coming from a Sony NEX like me, this one is taller and like feels really cool actually. The NEX-5 is a bit shorter, so there is a real difference between these two devices. It's a bit thicker, yeah, it is thicker than the Sony NEX, and I wonder if it's wider. Yeah, it is also wider. So there's a real difference between these two devices. This also really feels professional, which is actually a very nice feel. This has a very good grip. This is the first thing I just noticed now. A very good grip. I'll get back to it in a second. What else is included? Well, this shoulder strap with the logo. There we have this, but in my case I have this UK adapter and also the European adapter. Then we have, an adapter, a charger, the charge plug, which means that I would have to plug in the USB to micro USB over here. And then on the other side, I have to plug in this to be able to plug it into the wall. And you can just charge over USB as well. And we have the battery. This is the NP-FW50. Now let's get to the, okay, and that's all I think that was in here. No, there's still one more thing, an extra mount for the viewfinder. So this is the thing, just click it into place. Like that. First, let's have a look at the camera itself. If I'll just open this, you can put in your SD card over here. I'll just put in my old camera. I just noticed that this battery, the one included, isn't charged yet. So I'll just put in my old one in here, which is already charged. So this is these are the functions. Turn on. Okay, this one just came out. Okay, we have to set up the date and time and area. So let me just do it now. Okay, so if, as you can see, it really starts up very quickly. I'll just show you again. So now it's going off. And I'll turn it on. Yeah, it starts up really, really quickly, which is nice. Zooming in, I can do over here. So on the lens itself, I can either do it manually. So I can zoom in like this from 60 millimeters, which is right now the most zoomed out, to 50 all the way over there. So these are the settings that we can choose. It's 24 megapixels. You can make it smaller if you'd like to save some space maybe. Aspect ratio is always 3:2. You can change it to 16:9, but 3:2 is perfectly fine. Quality is fine. You could shoot in RAW, of course, especially at this price range. You should be able to do that. So RAW and JPEG. File format for the videos, if you click on that, they can choose between AVCHD or XAVCS, which is an even higher file format, or MP4. Disadvantage of MP4 is that you can only film in 1440 by 1080. The recording setting, which is important, you can choose between these frame rates. So if you go to settings at page number 2, you can change to NTSC. So this means it's 1080p at 60 frames per second now, and or 24 if you'd like. But at least now I have the 60 frames per second option. Then single shooting, flash, you can use auto flash. By the way, flash looks like this, so it pops out like this. On the contrary to the NEX-5, you could attach one like this, okay? But then again, if you're not satisfied with this flash, you could buy an extra flash from Sony itself. So this is really useful for example, external microphones or external flash, for example, or other stuff, other gear. Here are some examples that are included on the box, that are mentioned on the box. For example, the stereo microphone ECM XYST1M, or a flash, which is the HVL F32M. For the multi-interlace shoe, that's what they call this thing. I just found out burst mode, they say 11 frames per second. This is how it sounds. Oh. Okay, that's cool. Now let's see what we can do if I would now change the lens, because that's something I'm very curious about. I only had one lens with my NEX-5, so if I take off now this lens, just press here, twist and take off, twist, take off. If I now put this one in, I again have to experiment with this thing. I just received this and it's my first time I'm changing a lens. I'll take this off again and I'll come back to it in another video. So I will experiment with this one first before I start changing the lens. Now the main difference is that this one, I would have to use this to zoom in and zoom out. I could do it manually as well. And with this lens, the only option I have is by really twisting it all the time. And I have this lens cap, this thing, which could be useful as well. One more useful feature in this camera is its screen. So it has a tilt screen. You can tilt this all the way up to like a flat angle like this, which is more than I could do with my NEX-5. And you could also do it all the way around. You could stick it out like this for some reason, but you can also do it like this, like that. So one thing it doesn't have, unlike the 5100, which is cheaper but has less extra functions, it doesn't have this, it takes pictures much slower, is this, that the screen doesn't go up. So if you really like taking selfies or you like vlogging a lot and you can miss this this shoe mount or the viewfinder or the 11 frames per second shooting or burst mode, then, and you'd rather have a screen that flips upward, then you should definitely look at the A5100. I'm not saying it's a better option. Me personally, although I take a lot of videos for my YouTube channel, I'd rather have a camera that supports external stuff than a flip screen. Okay, but that's just a personal thing. It depends what you use your camera for. You can't really see my selfie videos on my channel. Okay, so this was my unboxing and very quick look at the Sony A6000 and a little comparison with the NEX-5. I'll definitely be testing this camera in the coming weeks. I'll come back to you with some sample footage. I'm really looking forward to this, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video useful, and consider subscribing, and see you in the next video.